Snow squalls hit area. Hollywood mourns Martin. And lending a helping hand. News Now is next.
Your news leader in southwestern Ontario. News Now with Julie Simpson.
Good evening and Merry Christmas. Snow squalls are making Christmas driving treacherous in Midwestern Ontario. Huron County is on the receiving end of a snow squall advisory that includes Grey and Bruce counties. Moderate winds and blowing snow have reduced visibility. Roads were generally clear throughout the day with some snow patches accumulating. Snow plows will be out until midnight in Huron County. Operators are preparing for the worst.
Well, by the look of the sky, it gets dark at times. It looks like at times we're going to get heavy snow. Looking down south there, it gets real black.
Bethlehem joins us now. A lot of people on the roads today.
Especially careful driving, especially needed in through Midwestern Ontario because of these snow squall watches, warnings, and advisories for eastern Sarnia, Lambton County, for northern Middlesex, London, Oxford, and for Grey and Bruce County. Well, here on Perth, particularly a warning, a snow squall warning for Grey and Bruce. It's an advisory. Here's how it looks on our Doppler radar at the moment, and as you can see, not real wide, not real long, and that's because the winds aren't as strong as what they could be right now from the northwest at about 25 kilometers an hour, and that's certainly good news. The bad news is that if you are in those snow squall areas showing up on the Doppler radar, you're expected to receive 10 to 15 centimeters of snow every 6 hours.
Very heavy.
Yes, so we're keeping an eye on that. It's expected to continue this evening and possibly into tomorrow as well.
Thanks, Gus. We know that some residents in South Windsor actually are without power tonight. Have been since about 4, so we're checking in on that too.
All right.
Thanks, Gus. 3 people, including an infant, were taken to hospital this afternoon after 2 cars collided north of London. Police say Highway 4 near the Ilderton turnoff was snow-covered and slippery when this northbound vehicle and this southbound car collided just after 1 o'clock this afternoon. A father and his young daughter, who were traveling south on Highway 4, were taken to hospital, treated, and released. A woman was the lone occupant of the northbound vehicle. She was also taken to University Hospital in London with non-life-threatening injuries. For many people who spend Christmas in the hospital, December 25th can be just another day on the calendar. However, in London, 2 local groups did their best today to make sure this Christmas was a memorable one for shut-ins. Steve Cassar reports.
He cheered up the young.
That's a nice big smile. That's a girl.
And made the bigger kids smile. All in a day's work for honorary Shriner, Santa. For the past 25 years, members of London's Shriners Mocha Temple have spent Christmas morning at London's Children's Hospital, traveling from room to room, from floor to floor.
It's a gift to us to see where the money's going and see what it's really all about, really. Because most of us never really come in the place from one year to the next, so that it makes it all worthwhile.
Merry Christmas! You guys are wonderful!
The Shriners own 23 hospitals across North America, 1 in Canada, located in Montreal. And while the Shriners cheered up the children across the street here at London's Parkwood Hospital, more than 50 members of the Royal Canadian Legion spent Christmas with fellow veterans. George Lowe remembers the Christmases of 1944, 45, and 46, when he was stationed in Syria, Italy, and Germany.
And I'm lucky enough not to have to spend my days here. These fellows are less fortunate than I am, so that's why I come down, along with all these other fellows who are in the same boat, you know.
So while members of the Legion and the Shriners could be elsewhere on Christmas Day, many wouldn't trade this annual tradition for anything. Steve Cassar, News Now, London.
Christmas dinner for many needy Londoners was made possible today thanks to the generosity of others. John Lees reports that generosity involves more than just giving food and gifts.
Christmas dinner at the Arcade Mission in London is more than just a chance for people who otherwise would have been eating craft dinner today to sit down to a turkey dinner with all the trimmings. For about 24 members of Valley View Mennonite Church and about a dozen other volunteers who are serving them that dinner, this gathering is about experiencing something they wouldn't have otherwise. the true meaning of Christmas.
Whether it's for spiritual reasons or just for the, the gift of giving and sharing and being together.
How do you feel today?
I feel great. Yeah, I feel fantastic.
All the more so because it's a family affair. Sally's mom and dad are helping out also. For the Kitching family, Mark, Bridget, and their son Erwin, it's all about helping others together.
We're all here. We had Christmas together last night, and now we're giving a little bit back to the community.
The volunteers here could have stayed in bed longer today. They could have spent the day satisfying their appetites for gifts, good food, and fun. But as Catherine Coleman puts it,
the volunteers working here are getting more out of doing this than any of those folks sitting at those tables.
The folks sitting at those tables, however, were getting a lot more than they usually get. And the Yuletide celebrations here at the Arcade Mission haven't ended. On Sunday night, there's going to be a New Year's Eve dinner. John Lees, News Now, London.
In Windsor, volunteers at the downtown mission served Christmas dinner to more than 100 people today. And for one young woman, there was an added surprise. Stephanie Manzik explains.
It wasn't your traditional Christmas dinner at Windsor's downtown mission. 3 turkey feasts have already been served up over the holidays, and today the cooks prepared something a little different. Roast beef, meatballs, baked potatoes, and more. Eileen Boudon is the head cook.
I would rather be here because more people need us here than they do at home. My family's fine, and I like to be here.
In all, 14 volunteers serve food to more than 130 people.
The real face of poverty, people are beginning to see it, and they're beginning to see that people who are less fortunate than others, who are on lower income, are just like everybody else.
And for those who have nowhere to go this Christmas, the kindness of others warms this cold winter day.
There are people out here that love and care for them, and the people here think that the volunteers that are doing something for them.
And this is a very special Christmas for Tony Asselstein and Rosie Nelson.
Merry Christmas, darling, and I love you. Will you marry me?
Yes. Stephanie Manzik, News Now, Windsor.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, some residents of South Windsor are without power. An explosion in a hydro station has left about 1,000 homes without hydro. Hydro crews are in the process of rerouting electricity to those homes that have been affected, and the power is expected to be restored within the next hour. The explosion happened around 4 o'clock at the station located at Avon and Mount Carmel by the St. Clair College. The traditional Christmas Mass at the Vatican went ahead without Pope John Paul today. A flu kept him away from the service for the first time. Despite that, the pontiff later tried to deliver his traditional message to the world from St. Peter's Square. But he had to stop partway through because of his fever. Last night, the Pope expressed new hope for world peace. Christmas celebrations began in Bethlehem today, with Palestinians emphasizing the need for reconciliation. The West Bank city was handed over by the Israelis 3 days ago. Thousands of people flocked to Manger Square, braving the cold to hear church bells ring and choirs sing Christmas carols. PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat and his family attended the celebrations and noted that it was good to see Christians and Muslims celebrating together. Outside Bethlehem, hundreds of Jewish settlers protested against Israel's handover of control of the West Bank to the Palestinians. The Bosnian capital celebrated its first Christmas at peace since 1992 today. Bosnian Catholics crammed the Sarajevo Cathedral to hear Mass. Hundreds more listened to the service over a sound system outside. The wartime curfew was lifted for the Christmas holiday, allowing thousands of people to wander the streets. A final peace agreement ending the 43-month Bosnian War was signed in Paris on December 14th. The Queen paid tribute to peacemakers in trouble spots from Bosnia to Northern Ireland. Here's a segment from the monarch's annual Christmas Day message.
The work for peace is never-ending. At long last, the fighting between the factions in the former Yugoslavia seems to be coming to an end, with life beginning to return to some kind of normality. This Christmas, thousands of Commonwealth servicemen and women will be far from their families, already playing their part in the international force dedicated to keeping that peace. Closer to home, there has been a peace in Northern Ireland for more than a year. It is heartily welcomed by all people of goodwill. These are the first fruits of that ceaseless work for peace. They could only have been achieved by the quiet and determined efforts of all sorts of different people, some of them famous, many of them unnoticed and unsung by the world at large, but all peacemakers nonetheless. It is when the fighting ceases that the work of reconciliation and reconstruction can begin.
Members of the British royal family attended a traditional Christmas service today near the royal residence at Sandringham. Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen Mother, Prince Charles and his sons, Princes William and Harry, were among the group. The Princess of Wales was not present. She decided last week against attending the family's Christmas celebration. Prince Andrew also made an appearance with his daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie. More than 500 people cheered the royal churchgoers as they made their way to St. Mary Magdalene's Church. Premier Mike Harris is predicting 1996 will be a better year for the Ontario economy. The Premier is spending the holiday in North Bay with his family.
This year, as my family and I celebrate the traditions of the holiday season, I am reminded of how fortunate we are to have each other, our health, and the opportunity to share our joy with friends and neighbors. In the midst of our own festivities, it is important for those of us who enjoy such good fortune to reach out, to help and share with those less fortunate than ourselves. By supporting the many organizations and volunteers who devote their time and energy to making the holiday season happier for those in need, we bring added meaning to the traditional wishes of peace and prosperity. On behalf of my family, I wish you and your loved ones all the joys of the season and peace and happiness for the year ahead.
More than 800 people filled London's oldest church on Christmas Eve for midnight mass. St. Paul's Cathedral is celebrating its 150th anniversary and welcomed its largest crowd of the year last night. After the cathedral choir sang Christmas carols, Reverend Percy O'Driscoll delivered the sermon.
When Mary and Joseph got to Bethlehem, there was no room in the inn. We all know that. There was no room in the inn. For millions of people around the world in which we live this evening, there is no inn, let alone a room.
A Hanover boy who was injured while tobogganing yesterday has been upgraded from critical to serious condition. 7-year-old Theodore Miller hit a clump of trees while tobogganing in Allen Park Conservation Area in Bentinck Township around 12:30 yesterday afternoon. He was taken to a local hospital and then airlifted to the Children's Hospital in London. The entertainment world lost one of its best-known stars at the stage and screen. Dean Martin died early this morning of acute respiratory failure. He was 78 years old. Martin, the son of an Italian immigrant barber, spoke only Italian for the first 5 years of his life. He rose to stardom in the 1950s as part of the comedic duo Martin and Lewis. Some of Dino's most memorable songs are Volare, That's Amore, and Everybody Loves Somebody. A Christmas message from Ontario's Lieutenant Governor when we come back. The province's Lieutenant Governor Henry Jackman has wished Ontario residents the best of the season in his Christmas message.
Since I was given the privilege of becoming Ontario's Lieutenant Governor, the 39th governor since John Graves Simcoe came to this province some 200 years ago. I have experienced the wondrous joy of seeing all of this great province in detail. I have traveled to every region, met people of all different backgrounds and different origins, all of whom are contributing to the great fabric which is Canada. I have seen at first hand how the people of Ontario continue to help each other. I have learned what volunteerism really means. I have seen the courage of those who are disabled or disadvantaged as they strive to fulfill the potential of their lives. I have also seen the generosity of spirit of those who lend a helping hand To be Lieutenant Governor of this great province is a rare privilege and honor, but it is also a responsibility and a trust, of which I am aware and to which I have dedicated myself. To all those in this province whom I have had the privilege to meet, and to all those others whom I hope to meet in the next year, I wish you the very best for the Christmas season and for the new year. A year which we hope will be blessed with economic recovery, prosperity, and happiness.
And Gus Lamb joins us now with the weather. Some real mixed bag up in Midwestern Ontario.
Oh, really? It just basically right across the area, but especially through Midwestern Ontario. Our viewers in areas where hardly a drop of or a flake of snow is coming down can't imagine, but some areas getting 10 to 15 centimeters every 6 hours in Midwestern Ontario. Well, we'll show you in just a second here, expecting to have 40 centimeters by the time it's all done tomorrow afternoon. Little snow, yeah, just enough snow to try out the new snowboards and the snow racers and everything in Deutsch Park, just in London near St. Joseph's Hospital. As we take another look at our Doppler radar, and you can still see those snow squalls still set up northwest wind, north-northwest wind setting up off the southern part of Lake Huron and getting into northern Middlesex, into southern Huron, and into Perth as well, and some earlier in through eastern parts of Lambton County. We'll certainly keep an eye on that for you through the evening hours. As we take a look at our national satellite shot, keep in mind we do have a snow squall warning in effect for those counties just mentioned, and an advisory for Bruce and Grey County as well. Well, we continue to look for ridge of high to move in, but in the meantime, we're on the tail end of this low pressure system that passed through earlier today, and in the tail end of that, we still have the cloud cover starting to break up. We have a few troughs in behind that are passing through, and of course the winds are set up in such a way that they blow in off Lake Huron and Georgian Bay as well. And so that's all set up for the snow squall situation that we have right now. Fortunately, the wind is not as strong as what it could be. Last night, we saw it all coming in. A lot of cloud cover across the region. Things have broken up the cloud cover anyway quite a bit since then. But still, the winds are the thing that's doing the trick right now. The main system itself has passed. As mentioned, the wind is the one that's setting things up and will continue to give us snow squalls into the lee of Lake Huron for tonight and into tomorrow. Not likely to end until tomorrow afternoon, so we'll go with an 80% chance of precipitation in through London, Middlesex, Sarnia area, Huron, Perth, 90% of some flurry activity through Grey and Bruce County, and 60% in through the extreme southwest. For tomorrow, wind still from the northwest to 25, and we'll look for a 70% chance of flurry activity and some snow squall activity in there as well through London, Sarnia, Midwestern Ontario, 40% for Essex County and Kent County for tomorrow in the daytime highs, -6, -7, and -8. Here's how the rest of the week looks for your Christmas week in the Windsor area, -6 for both Tuesday and Wednesday, and still a bit of a breeze for tomorrow. Fairly sunny for Thursday and Friday, and temperatures pretty reasonable at -4 and -2 for Friday. For the London area, look for the same kind of conditions for the next couple of days, variable cloud cover, so we will get a few breaks of sunshine, -8 both days. Fortunately, the wind is not strong enough that we'll have a significant wind chill factor. -5 and -3 with mainly sunny skies for both Thursday and Friday. For Midwestern Ontario, a whole lot more cloud cover, as you can see, and the temperatures -7 through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and -4 for Friday. Boy, that -7 would look pretty good if you were doing a little gambling, eh, Stu? The almanac for today, there you have the daytime ranges, -3 to -5, -1 to -5, -4 to -6. Winds right now, well, they are brisk to moderate. Northwest at 13, 33 kilometers an hour in through the Windsor area is the top so far, and west-northwest in through the London area at 30 kilometers an hour. Barometers rising everywhere, and the current temperature in London at -5, Windsor at -3, and Wingham at -6 at the moment.
So did he get one of those pocket gamblers for Christmas that I don't know anything about?
We're not telling you because you'll want to come and play.
Oh, darn. Thanks, Gus.
You're welcome.
Stu Bunny is in with sports, and we've got football to talk about tonight.
Absolutely. The big NFL night on Christmas night. I'll tell you in just a minute.